Díomh agus céad míle fáilte go dtí an cheolchuirm seo. Is mise Eilís ní Riordan agus tásúla gom go minic sibh taitneamh as an cheolchuirm. Hello, and you're very welcome to this short recital of harp songs by Turlough Carolan. Carolan is the renowned Irish harper-composer who lived from 1670 to 1738. The repertory of the old Irish harpers was to a large extent vocal in nature. They sang and accompanied themselves on their brass wire strung early Irish harps. And Carolan, our most well-known old Irish harper, composed his own songs, just as many of the old Irish harpers did, and then he sang them for his patrons, accompanying himself on his harp or clárseach. The final generation of the old Irish harpers, whose playing Edward Bunting transcribed in the late 18th century, just before the whole of the old Irish harping tradition unfortunately died out, they were playing a lot of these harp songs by Carolan, among other music. And the Carolan harp songs that I'm going to perform today are my reconstructions from the material surviving in the Bunting manuscripts. And the Bunting manuscripts themselves are housed in the special collections in the library in Queen's University Belfast. And they're an incredibly valuable and a vital link to the music of Carolan and to the whole old Irish harping tradition. My first song today is Anna MacDermot Rowe, or Anna Ben Viciermada Rua. And Carolan composed this beautiful song upon the marriage of Henry MacDermot Rowe to Anne O'Donnell, the daughter of Colonel Manus O'Donnell of Newport, County Mayo. And Henry was the eldest son of Carolan's primary patron, Mrs. Mary MacDermot Rowe of Alderford House in County Roscommon. Edward Bunting collected this song from Rose Mooney, one of the female Irish harpers. She attended the Belfast Harp Assembly in 1792. And just to give you a flavour of this beautiful song, I'll read the second verse, a translation of the second verse. And isn't it delightful for this wise young man to win the desirable young woman of the pleasant word? She is graceful, kindly and accomplished, a beautiful, bright dear flower every hour and all the time. Henry, son of Charles, it is he I'm speaking of. It's his nature to be talented, light-hearted and lively. His wife-to-be knows his disposition, and the country knows of his prowess. If I had wine in my hand, I would drink your health. God bless this couple, Anna and Henry. Light the pipe and pour the dram.
Do bhíon agus seol do hío mar dúirdaigh diaid an tréacht is táin. Agus láir do bhíon par an óg ní scíomhach da cleocht na níorlaí is riamh fáin. Rón nó péir sé riamh ní raibh na hacha sfíor gur dans a píps a lecha and an íon bháis sárvach rúri an áirtlach lúpacht an júlpach in ló. Ní breg a dúirt me fin trása le cig na lúb agus na bhánach gur geall a súil déad sa cúil is léir lam súd gur súgach a gló. in the sair friar side. Hashimover kriol kjolver sivol, blagjald as stilishka horska hav. Han riva kjell shepa mera, dar dolve tre och her och tap, an iar vien gan tig mjakshi, is all van tira gniev gar brai. Da mjach fine malagshe, doling ein bad leinte, Gmenity dishe anagus hanri, laster pipa gas lien paradram.
My next song is Seabhach na Herne, or The Hawk of Loch Earn, or The Hawk of Ballyshannon. And this majestic song is again a celebratory wedding song. Here, Charles O'Donnell, who in fact is the brother of Anna in the previous song, was getting married to Catherine O'Moore of County Kildare. And both their families would have been Irish Catholic gentry. For this song, Carolan uses a variant of the tune Port Athol, which in fact was written by a predecessor of his, the harper composer Rory Dowell O'Cahan. The words are Carolan's. Bunting collected this song from Arthur O'Neill, one of the best known of the 18th century Old Irish harpers. And to give you a flavour of the song, I'll read the first verse, a translation of the first verse. There is the gift of the most beautiful of women, from Conor O'Reilly to the O'Malley Mountains. The regal woman of the sweetest kiss, it is the daughter of O'Moore I speak. Relative of vigorous, strong men, it would be a long time before she would take rent from friends. Skin of happiness and the smooth, colourful hair, it is you I am speaking of now. Wouldn't it be blissful to the person who would be intimate with her, the beautiful girl with the ringleted tresses, kinswoman of the kings from Tara, descended from Conall Carnoch? I praise you for accepting this course, lively only son of Manus, the hawk of Loch Earn and Ballyshannon, and every young woman's heart's desire.
Shooting fading deaf my soul, on a rewrite, slate wall, on Rivan Mogis Milchapog, and in Vora Rochten, Gaelum Riar Lider, is Papa Golak, she is tua maronish nar viving on te vecha kadrev keg no gold fanach sure nori and niesar he'll regohan Molm hoein on rimshach lake in vika big vanish. Shauk mohernes velashon is snachtel wie lordig levig ligne, ek jong van wees gereed mielte, krieg an rosa langen tro, nagus liente soos je huinva, ek jyle gan roem gan wees daar, wil ich van moos right in some noig maar bedoeld am magma, maar dig to shall go dime. A quimlig almar an allig eirin so small, so fold crave glass of Talv, so more a cause of money. Hook she barsh gave her van a kringe, o Venus is so jedre. She healem hengar be railed mom madni, skummin gak dinner ingrale.
A little bit about the instrument that I'm playing today. This particular harp is a Historical Harp Society of Ireland student copy of the Mullach Mast harp, which is an 18th century harp which is still in existence. It's in the National Museum of Ireland. I'm playing this harp on my left shoulder, which is exactly the way the old Irish harpers would have played. Then your left hand has the melody, is playing up high on the higher strings, and the right hand is playing a supporting role on the bass strings. When Edward Bunting collected the music from the old Irish harpers at the end of the 18th century, only one of them was playing still with the very long fingernails, and that was Denis O'Hampsey, who was also the oldest of the harpers. So the long fingernails playing on the strings would have been traditional for centuries before that, but in the 18th century they were mostly playing with their fingertips or finger pads instead, which is the way I'm playing. The construction of the harp, this is the sound box, and it usually was constructed of one hollowed out piece of wood with a back plate. The brass wire strings have a very resonant tone and a long sustain, so it's important to use a lot of damping when playing so as not to have too many strings sustaining at the same time. There are two G's in the same, right next to each other, and they're called the collie, or the line together, which is a particular feature of this harp. Eleanor Plunkett, or Nellie Plunkade, or Nellie on Húl Chréimhigh, is a well-known tune today, but the words much less so. Eleanor was born around 1686, and she was a member of the Plunkett family from Castlecombe in the townland of Ardmagh near Nobber in County Meath, which was Carolyn's own birthplace. And the Plunkett family were Irish Catholic gentry, and they fared very badly in the Cromwellian land confiscations, and they were dispossessed of their lands in the 1650s. So the song alludes to this sad family history. And before I sing the song, I'll just read a translation of the first two verses to give the atmosphere of the song. O Nelly of the flowing hair, and her eyes the colour of green grass rising to the day. It's not a lie for me to say this, that your relatives, the important men from sunny Ardmache, got great renown among the kinspeople with strong force of hand. And everything I say, I'm not lying, with the excellent phrase of the gentle fingers and effective style at poetry and prose. O well-mannered, sweet beloved, if you value my speech, here is my hand, if I may, that you will not be without music.
Skurt de fjochtene verje vocht har de mache grine for sarkone kvelet let trinner til lov Trachole me hun skel Narachin da dechend Og boer der skjere Når kjedev dovna Skachen mabrun I bregom Le sår frosne nerlag Is fucht I nås versis fros Ansut fing vesach Mata speslat nog Som låtet ma veten nach lektogan kjå. Maren dort heilte, nach du hein inside tirsa, nach I schläg doch lor. Da will be dar man love is to man sagt, I can see the shot. Ni kom långt kredering, let the veil mar on the road.
My final song for today's concert is Fanny Power. And Fanny, or Frances Power, was the daughter and heiress of David and Elizabeth Power from Loughrea, County Galway. And she married Richard Trench from Garbally, County Galway, in 1731. Bunting collected this song from Charles Byrne and Arthur O'Neill. And I'll just read the translation of the first verse to give the flavour of the song, and I'd like to thank Eamon O'Broha for this translation and this version of the words. I wish to speak of a happy young woman, most noble in beauty and reputation, who lives in the townland at the harbour of Loughrea. I'm grateful I chanced her way. Happy, light-hearted and accomplished is this fine, lively maiden, the heartfelt love of all Ireland. This beautiful pearl, drink heartily and don't be remiss, to the health of Fanny, the daughter of David.
Is min jong trachter op mi hork, is soisle gjanul gnides kar, viesens an male kon lokriach, am buich gar kassel me laivele. Is erox is trehoch an weiden jaskofante, grokringe heren man perle taskolante, Olige trenes nadien gefalli, verhoeden Fanny min tavi. Shudi an alle tevle kon, has Leute farin nebagra, she Fanny has gjanulen lisnenul, for bogum minekle Norogelen sails og mi make of canvas och dausa go heroes med of vanish for grimontation and in spring